don't care what your mom or dad said. I don't care what some loser in high school said about you. I don't care what you say about yourself every single day in your mind. I don't care how much you've beaten yourself up. You have that drive. You have the drive to build something and to dream for more. And it was put there, I believe, by God because you're a human and you're created in his image. I started a painting company that has now grown into what we call Resi Brands, which is a platform brand with 5 home service brands that are franchising all across the country. And so what I want to share with you guys today is my story, how I turned from a college dropout into a painter, into a home service franchisor. I also want to share with you 6 laws of unwavering rapid growth. So the 6 laws of unwavering rapid growth. And then I'm going to share with you the one reason, the singular reason why you should dream for more and build better. Okay? So that's what we're going to go through today. It was a cold winter's morning. All right, that's how all good stories start. It's a cold winter's morning in 2004 in Bend, Oregon. Anybody from Oregon here? Couple. Hey, there we go. Hey, we'll connect after. It's a cold winter's morning, Bend, Oregon. I'm on a 20-foot ladder, scraping siding. I'm 14 years old. My dad had had a painting company for a brief period of time, and I would work weekends for him and during the summer. So I'm up on this ladder, and I'm scraping the paint off the siding. It's about 36 degrees outside. We're trying to get one last exterior done before the end of the year, before the season was over. And so I'm up there, and I'm not talking about scraping with some like piddly putty knife, you know what I mean? For the painters in the room, the real painters, you know what I'm talking about, a real scraper, a man scraper, the one with 2 handles so you can put your weight into it, and you can just scrape the paint right off the siding. So I'm up there, I got gloves on, I got my jacket on, I'm scraping this siding, trying to get this job done with my dad. And I remember very specifically that this is probably the moment where I became a true entrepreneur. Because as I'm scraping the siding, probably most kids would have been complaining or not having a lot of fun doing it. I loved it. And I just wanted to work. And I remember thinking this very specifically. My dad is charging $30 an hour. That's what he charged the customers. But he's paying me $8 an hour, right? And so what went through my head is, when I graduate high school, I'm going to start my own painting company, and I'm going to charge people $30 an hour, and I'm going to hire all my friends and pay them $8 an hour. And that means for every friend that I hire, I'll make $22 an hour, right? So I'm just like dreaming big. I'm like, all right, if I hire 10 friends, I'm making $220 an hour. And I'm like, all right, that could be like $1,000 a day. So that's where my head is, right? At 14 years old, middle of the winter, scraping siding, and I'm planning out my life as an entrepreneur. Before that, I had done like little paper routes and things like that. So I think I always had this natural sort of drive to build things. And I'll get to that drive at the end, but I think all of you have it. And I think everyone has it at some level. How much you have entertained it, how much you've developed it, how much you've actually gone out and executed with it, that's maybe to be determined still, but I think you all have it. I think every single one of us does. And so my dad quit painting homes, so he did it for a little bit while I was in high school. He had also been a painter, so we were missionaries, so my parents were missionaries, so my childhood from like 3 to 14, we lived all over the world. So like Russia, Kenya, Australia, we moved all the time. And whenever we were back in the US, my dad would paint. And that's how he would make money during furlough, and then we'd go back to the mission field. And so my parents decided that they didn't want to be missionaries anymore for me because they didn't want me to grow up to be a weird kid. All right? Anybody know a missionary kid who was like they were homeschooled too long? All right? It's like homeschool's good, but like if you don't put them around other kids, they turn out weird. So my parents didn't want me to turn out weird. So they're like, hey, we're gonna leave the mission field, we're gonna move back to Bend, Oregon, and we're gonna put Steven in high school, and I had my younger brother in middle school. And so my dad started painting for a bit. That's where I was working for him. And then he quit doing it, and he went kind of into car sales and even being a service advisor with BMW. And so high school, I finished up high school, and I went to a Bible college in California, and during that time, my mom became a real estate agent, and they moved to Texas. And so I started painting homes during breaks in college for her clients and for her realtor friends' clients. And I'd make like $3,000-$4,000 in a few weeks, and then have plenty of money. I called it Jack in the Box money because right across the street, like the food at the school sucked, so we just go to Jack in the Box every day. So that was my Jack in the Box money, right? So I made enough money painting that I didn't have to work during the semester, and I could just eat Jack in the Box all the time. Super healthy. I also skipped the workout last night, so I'm not as healthy as a few of the people here, but still love Jack in the Box. Really good. Yeah. We don't know what's in them. Nobody does, but they're good and they're cheap. So I've decided, I don't think college is for me. Love God, love the Bible, but I didn't really want to do the whole college thing. I was always making great money painting, and I got the thing I needed out of Bible college, which was a wife, right? Amen? Yeah? Okay. I met my wife there, and at our Bible college, there was this little lake, right? And rumor was it, you walked around the lake 3 times with a girl, you get married. Ring by spring. So I walked around 3 times, like we were dating, like we were definitely talking about marriage. And then I was like, I'm dropping out, and I'm going to start doing other things. And so I started painting for another subcontractor. We got married and moved to Austin, Texas. And so it was right after honeymoon. I was doing a lot of sub work for another painting company. And he had me pressure washing most of the time, which I hated, because then you just smell like bleach and are all wet all day. And I called her and I was like, I gotta just paint houses for myself. That's what I'm good at. That's what I want to do. She's like, cool, let's do it. Let's go for it. So called my boss, said, hey, I can't do work for you anymore. I got to start my own painting company. And I started painting houses. I knocked on doors to get work. I called every real estate agent in the city. I would go to real estate offices and meet with them. And pretty quickly, I had a business that was thriving. I was hiring friends, teaching them how to paint. And I grew that business to probably like $500,000 a year pretty quickly. And I got really comfortable for years. I was making good money. Most of my friends were like working at coffee shops and stuff like that, not making great money. I was running a decent sized painting company, and I had a ton of freedom in my life. Like I could hang out at the coffee shop. I was helping out with nonprofits and church plants and doing all these cool things. And my painting company just kind of funded my lifestyle, and it was amazing. And then one day I was sitting at a restaurant with my Sherwin-Williams rep, and he asked me what my business goals were. Anybody have those meetings with them, right? And I was like, I didn't have any, to be honest. So I pulled out of thin air, and I was like, I'll be the biggest painting company in Austin, Texas. And he laughed, and he said, that's ridiculous, because he saw how much paint I bought. It wasn't a lot. He's like, what are you talking about? Dude, you're like tiny. Like there's like 30 people bigger here than you. And that him saying that's ridiculous, now I had a chip on my shoulder, right? And I was like, okay, all right. And so I just started working harder and harder. And at that time, I didn't have a CRM. I didn't have anything. So I really got focused on the business. I started writing SOPs. I started training my painters more officially. I started, really working on the sales process and project management. And I even hired a business coach who was phenomenal for me. And he really challenged me on how I was thinking about my business. And it led to me doing $1 million. And then we did $2 million. And then we did $4 million this next years. And pretty quickly we realized we were onto something. And so we said, let's franchise. Let's see if we can bring in other people to this great opportunity and grow from there. And the reason we chose franchising, because originally I had built out this entire business plan with my coach, where we were going to launch in Houston and Dallas and OKC, and I was going to own all these locations. And I started reading about franchising and studying it, and what I loved about it was an opportunity for me to empower others, let them build their business in the brand and system that I had already created. And I fell in love with that idea because it was all about empowerment and coaching and helping others rather than just building a hierarchy for myself. So we had this crazy goal. You guys ready for it? We're going to go 20 locations. That was the goal, right? And so that was the big goal. We're going to hit 20 locations, and We did that really fast. In fact, within a few months, we had already been at like 7 franchisees launched. And so I called my business partner at the time and I said, hey, I think we're thinking too small. I had just read Grant Cardone's 10X. I was like, we're gonna 10X this thing, bro. You know those phone calls? Any of you have those type of phone calls with your buddy? You're like, hey, I've read this book and everything's gonna be different now. And so we 10X and we're like, let's go for 205 years. So just for context, I started painting houses independently in 2011. That was on my own, official company, that one painter, just me painting houses, 2011. It wasn't until 2021 that we started franchising. So a lot of people have heard my story or talked to me and like, wow, it's like explosive growth. Like it's like amazing what you did. And I'm like, yeah, but it was built on a decade of very slow growth. It was built on a decade of me focusing on customers that were right in front of me and slowly building a team over time. So like this wasn't like a rapid success story. In my mind, this was success that happened after a very solid foundation was built. And a lot of times that foundation takes way longer to establish than you think it will. And I didn't have big dreams or aspirations when I first started. I just simply didn't want to work for anybody else. Like I felt incapable of working for other people. And so I just wanted the freedom to decide what I wanted to do every day. It was that simple. I didn't start painting houses in 2011 thinking we were going to build a massive company. I just didn't want to have to do it for anybody else. So we get to 2021 and we start franchising. It's going very quickly. And so we set that goal of from 2021 to basically 2026, we wanted to be at 200 franchise units. And that goal even started to be too small. We were growing really, really fast. And so I decided that the new goal would be 1,000 units with 5 brands, or 10 brands. We're at 5 right now. And so we started looking at other opportunities. We started 2 concepts ourselves, Garage Up, which is garage makeovers and garage doors. We started Monty's Handyman Service, which is handyman services, which is still small and growing. And then we did 2 kind of partnership acquisitions with Pinks. If you guys have seen their Instagram, they're amazing. We brought them under Resi Brands, and that brand has exploded all over the country now. And then we now also have a brand where we acquired Action Exteriors, which is roofing and siding, primarily. And it's been this amazing journey. We're not even at 5. We're not even at the initial 5 years that we had set out to. We're at about 4.5 years now. And there are so many things we have done right, and there are so many things that we have done wrong and had to fix, like made mistakes. We've at times like grown a little too fast and had to like almost intentionally slow down and make sure that everything was as strong as it could be before us scaling quickly again. And it's been this massive learning experience for me and for my team, and it's been incredibly rewarding. We have franchisees who have accomplished in their first year what took me a decade to achieve, and that's very rewarding. It's fun to see. And we want to build, I'm just going to be very upfront with this, we want to build the largest trades and home service organization in the world. That is our goal, and we believe that we can do it. And I say this because we now are very comfortable saying big goals, but I didn't used to be. I used to be the type of person who I did not want to talk about my goals with anyone. To be honest, I was often kind of like ashamed of having big goals for myself. I had a lot of those limiting mindsets, and it took a long time for me to break through those things. And so what I want to do is I want to give you guys the 6 unwavering laws of rapid growth. These are lessons that I've learned, and I think they'll be beneficial to you all. Okay, 6 unwavering laws of rapid growth. Number 1, everyone is better at something than you. I remember this very specific house that we were painting. I tell this story a lot at like our trainings and stuff, and some of our franchisees and my team members are here, so they've heard this story too many times. I told them it's okay, they could take a nap. So I'm at this house. I had about 5 painters working for me at this time, and I was doing all the bids, all the project management, all of it by myself, and I just had painters that worked for me. And I got to this house, and the guys were supposed to be wrapping it up at like 4 or 5. And I get there, it's like 5 o'clock, And it's very clear that we're not going to be done with this job until late in the evening. And we had another job that started in the morning. And so I'm like, hey guys, like, we have a job in the morning we have to get to, so we have to wrap this up. And so I did what I always would do because I thought it was good leadership. I picked up the brush and the paint bucket and I went to go start cutting in. And I remember I'm about to start cutting in, painting along the baseboards and everything. And I had this thought, I'm like, if you don't put this brush down, you'll never escape this part of your business. Put the brush down. Like, it was going through my head, I'm like, I have to put this brush down. I can't grow my business and always be painting too. I need to trust my team to get the job done this evening and meet me at the next job in the morning. So I did. I said, hey guys, I'm not going to help you with this one. I'm putting this stuff away. I'm going to focus on building the business. I need you guys to focus on finishing this job, and I'll see you guys in the morning. And they did a great job. The customer was super happy, gave us a 5-star review, and we got a check that they brought to me in the morning. And at that time, I had a lot of this, like, it's almost sometimes like a false humility of like, but really what it is you think without you, everything falls apart. And you do it as like, I'm just here to help. I'm one of the guys. Like, I'm not better than them. You have all these reasons why, but really what it is you think if you're not there, that everything will break. And actually, it's ego. And I have this, in my office, I have this wall of brushes. And I started collecting antique brushes. I put them on my wall, and it's like the background. So if you ever see me on a Zoom call or anything like that, you're going to see the brushes. And what they represent to me is all of the different responsibilities I've passed off to somebody else. Even more recently, Tyler here, he's our brand president of That One Painter. And like, I handed him a brush and said, hey, you're going to run this brand now. And that was a big moment for me because that was my initial brand. That was my baby. So handing that off was very difficult, and I didn't want to for a very long time. Can I tell you what happened when I handed it off to Tyler? Everything got better. You know why? Because Tyler's a better brand president than I am. Connor's better at marketing than I am. Everyone that has ever worked for me is better at something than I am. And this idea that I'm going to be best at everything is ego and is incredibly limiting. And you really get ahead, you're going to be able to grow your business way faster the minute that you realize that very soon you're going to have painters who are better at painting than you. You're going to have project managers who are better with customers than you are. You're going to have salesmen who are better at closing than you are. You're going to have admins who are far more organized and can take care of all of those details that you're ignoring far better than you will. Then for me, it was like, I'm going to have franchise coaches who are better at coaching franchisees than I am. They're far more patient. Right? I'm going to have marketing people who understand websites and SEO and human behavior better than I do. I'm going to have leaders who can step into roles and lead that team better than I did. And when you understand that and you start to focus on what you're supposed to do, which is cast vision and build a great team, all of a sudden, growth is inevitable. That's why I said it's the unwavering laws of rapid growth. You have to admit that everybody is better at something than you. And so if you start finding people who are really great at what they do and putting them in the right spot, growth is going to happen. It becomes inevitable. All right, second part. Second law of unwavering rapid growth is that less is more. As you grow your business, and it happens very easily, you're going to we need this tool, and I need a person for that. And you know what? I think we need to add this software, and we should add Rilla and record our guys as they're doing sales, and we should, and I should do Angie, and I should do Thumbtack, and I should do Yelp, and I should do Google, and I should do Facebook, and I should do, you guys feeling it? Right? So it's like, so all of a sudden, you're adding. And really, what you need to be doing is stripping as many things away as you can, executing as simply as you can, and then adding only when it's the right phase and the right time. Right? So if I was a painting company under $500,000 right now, I would put $5,000 a month on Facebook and I wouldn't worry about SEO. I wouldn't worry about my website. I wouldn't worry about Thumbtack. I wouldn't worry about Angie. I wouldn't worry about anything else. I would get one thing right. Doesn't that, dude, don't you feel much more free just from me saying that? Because it's overwhelming. And what happens is most businesses don't die, they drown. They drown from too much, taking on too many things. You actually need to strip away if you want to grow fast. So if I was under $500,000, I'd pick Facebook, I'd put $5,000 on it, I'd hire FFM. We also, as Resi, we also have our own marketing agency, but we're not able to perfectly execute for every franchisee in every market, so we give our franchisees options, and they're one of the options, they do a phenomenal job. But I would pick one, and I would do it really well, and I would get as many leads as I can, and I would focus on making customers really happy. And then once that was humming along, and I had a good salesperson or project manager, and we were ready to take on more, I'd pick one more. I'd pick Google or Angie or Yelp or one of the others, or SEO, and I would put another $3,000 to $5,000 into it. And I would execute really well on that, right? Same thing goes for software and tools, right? You have unlimited options for lead management, review management. Which software do you use for estimates? You have so many different types of options. What do you use for accounting? Like you got to simplify it to the bare bones of what you need so that you can grow as quickly as possible. Then only add when you're truly ready. I saw this TED Talk, and this woman was talking about the cinder block. I think it was back like in the early 1900s. This guy had created this concrete block machine, and he got it patented. And he made these concrete blocks really quickly so that people could go and build homes faster. The problem was concrete blocks were pretty heavy, and they were not wanting to use his blocks. Instead, they were sticking to brick, and they were sticking to natural stone. And the reason was they were really heavy, really hard to lift up, really hard to build with, and they would crack. And so he had the idea, I'm going to make them lighter. So he basically took 30 to 40% of the concrete out from the center, and that's how we got cinder blocks. And he patented that, and he took it to market. And what he found was they were lighter, so workers could build faster. But not only that, they didn't crack as easy, and they actually insulated better. So by stripping some things away, he actually ended up making it stronger, faster, more practical. I guarantee you in your company, you could strip away 30 or 40% of what you do, and you would actually grow. You could strip away 30% of the tools you use, and you would grow. You could even potentially strip away 30 or 40% of the services you offer, and you would grow. Less is more. You should only add more when you're truly ready. We've made the mistake at Resi Brands sometimes adding too many things too fast. I'm speaking from experience. We found when we do less, we actually go farther. And we add when we're ready, when the time is right. So the third law of unwavering rapid growth is that vision comes before execution always. So I find Elon Musk to be fascinating. I think whether you like him or not, everybody finds him to be fascinating. And so how many of you remember his big announcement of the Cybertruck? Right? He broke the window. It was supposed to be bulletproof, but it still broke. It was this big event, right? And everyone's talking about it. And some people are like, this is so cool. And other people are like, that's the ugliest thing I've ever seen. Only idiots will buy it. You guys remember? It was like everybody was talking about it. So I studied that for a while, and I came up with, for our company, this philosophy we called Cybertruck it. Love it or hate it. I kind of liked it when I first saw it, and then now I think they're ugly, and I won't buy one, right? But I still think the philosophy behind the Cybertruck is amazing. So the philosophy for Cybertruck is this. Build something or create something unique. Build hype and excitement for it unashamedly. Take as long as you need to execute. And then deliver on your promise and never flip that order. A lot of you probably keep doing this. That's why you're not growing as fast as you want to. You want to execute and deliver before you go tell people about it. You want to master something before you've even talked about it. The way this works is really simple. And for me, I call it basically the laws of like faith. But you can also just call it the law of belief, no matter where you're at. The way you work as a human is that you will believe something, then you will talk about something, and then you will do something. And I don't care what anybody says. It's like, oh, you gotta go do it first before you talk. That's not how humans work. For us to actually go and build anything, do anything, really accomplish something, there's something in us first. We got to make sure that we really believe it. And then what we do naturally is we talk to friends and family members about it. Hey, I've got this idea. I'm thinking about doing this. I'm not sure. Like, that is natural. It's normal. And the more that you try to fight that process, you're actually holding your growth back. So this is what Elon Musk does. He does it very, very, very well, and he knows that people respond to it well. Elon Musk knows that I can create and build something kind of unique, even if I don't have it all figured out. It wasn't ready. It wasn't even close to being ready. It took years to actually get shipped to anybody. But he brought it up on stage. He had something super unique, literally said it was bulletproof, and he shows it off to the world. He builds hype. He builds excitement with zero shame. And then he gives himself the grace, the time to execute however long it takes. Right? He pre-sells, gets everybody excited, then goes back to the workshop and they work on it for 2 or 3 years. Then they actually come to you with it. He just did it again with dancing robots. You guys see those? No? Yeah? Do you really think we're going to get those next year? We won't have those in homes for 3 to 5 years. Because what he's doing, he's building excitement without shame, and then he's going to give himself and his team however long they need to actually execute. Then they will deliver what they promised. This is what most people do. Most people have goals, right? What they do is they write their goals in sand. So think about if you're at a beach, and you're like, all right, cool, it's a good moment for me. It's beautiful outside. It's all peaceful. I'm going to write down my goals. So you go to the sand, you write down your goals. $1 million, whatever it is, right? You wrote your goals in sand. And the reason why we write it in sand is so that we don't have to be accountable. Right? We write it in sand because it's like, I wrote my goals down. But we write it in sand so that when we're like not on track in April for our goal, we just go, I didn't say that. Right? We don't really like stick to our goals. We don't really proclaim our goals in any real way. We just kind of write them in sand. Oh, maybe, hopefully, we'll see. I'm going to work on that. I think you need to write your goals in concrete and make monuments of them. Let it set. Put it in a spot where everyone can see. Everyone knows for a ridiculous amount of time what my goals are in our company. I have shared it on podcasts and all sorts of things. I've said we're going to I just told you guys, we're going to build the biggest and best trades company in the world, right? Concrete, monument, it's recorded, right? Can't escape it. It's not in sand. The waves aren't going to wash it away. I can't kick it over it. I've put it out there for the world. I have no idea if I'm actually capable of that. Zero clue. I think I know how to get to 10 brands. Even that is really hard because 5 is super hard right now, right? But I'm going to put my goals out there, and here's what they are. Whether I hit them or not, they're a monument to entrepreneurship. They're a monument to effort. They're a monument to my team. They're a monument to all those sweat, blood, and tears that we put into it. Whether or not I hit it, it's just the fact that we were willing to try. It's the fact that we were willing to build something. It's the fact that we were willing to bet on ourselves is worth it alone. So don't be ashamed of your goals. Like, you cannot grow rapidly with shame. You can't build rapidly when you're worried about what everyone thinks. When you're worried that if you say what your goal is, people will mock you, and then if you don't hit it, they'll be like, haha, I told you, you suck. Anybody feel that? Because I felt that for a decade of my life. I knew I was capable of more, but limited myself and wouldn't share really what I thought I was capable of because of limiting beliefs. Leashes. So vision comes before execution always. Cybertruck it. Build the hype. Give yourself time. then deliver what you promised. Number 4, little wins become big wins. Don't despise the days of small things. I keep brushes on my office wall, not just to represent all the responsibilities that I've handed off to other people who are even better at many things than I am, but also to remind myself of where I started and where I've come from. Right? I remember sitting down with someone and they seemed really intimidated to be talking to me. And I just was, they were really nervous and they were trying to pitch me. And I was like, hey, look, calm down. I'm just a dumb painter. And they immediately they were way more confident. They laughed. Like, well, you're not just a dumb painter, Steven. And I'm like, okay, but that's where I started. Like, I was just a kid who probably ate too many paint chips and thought he could start a business. Don't despise the days of small things. David was told that he would be king. He was anointed to be king. And then before he ever was, he had to face a lion. He had to face a bear. He had to face Goliath. He had to face Saul. And after all of those wins that got bigger and bigger over time, he finally was kingdom. He was finally king and had the kingdom. But if you're like, I'm above fighting a lion, right? Or and you don't see it as the victory that it should be or the challenge that it should be, and you put yourself in your mind past where you really are, you'll never actually get anywhere. So small wins lead to big wins. Find a small win. I'm obsessed with this. I call it microdosing small wins. It's the only thing I microdose, I promise. Right? So wanting to be the biggest painting company in Austin, was a big task. We actually technically have still not done that. The CertaPro there is massive, like 15 million. But in a small win, I was like, I could beat him on reviews, right? So like microdose that win, crushed him on reviews, right? So if I can brag about that. It's like our franchisees have done the same. One of our first goals that we set with our franchisees is how quickly can you become the highest reviewed in your city? You might not be the biggest. There's going to be guys who have more relationships and are doing more commercial and stuff than you, have a whole decade or maybe even 30 years ahead of you. But what win can you take? What can you claim? So find a win, right? So we were like, all right, we want to sell more franchise territories than any other painting company in the US. We've accomplished that now. But for a while, I just was like, how can I be CertaPro in Texas? And we outsold them. So we had more locations in Texas than them. So we do more paint in Texas than they do. I don't know that I've actually still beat them on that first goal in Austin, Texas. Are you guys seeing what I'm saying here? You can set this massive goal, then you have to reverse engineer it. But you don't just reverse engineer it as tasks. You reverse engineer it as micro wins. And then you put those micro wins in a checklist and you go for the easiest one first. Anybody a Dave Ramsey fan? Get out of debt? What does he tell you to do? Pick the smallest credit card first. Baby steps. Smallest credit card first. Pay that one off first. Not the one with the highest interest rate. Not the one that makes most financial sense. Pick the smallest one because it gives you momentum. And micro wins, small wins, lead to bigger wins. They create momentum. John Maxwell says that momentum is the hardest thing to create in the world. So if you can create momentum, you can create this almost unstoppable force. Number 5, things worth noticing get noticed. So in your journey of growth, don't make growth your singular goal. Make doing a great job your goal. Make building a great painting company your goal. Like, allow the craft to be the craft. What I mean by that is if you go out and self-promote without actually building things that are great, everyone ignores you. Doesn't matter how much you post on social media, doesn't matter how loud you scream or how much you talk about how great you are, if when you turn around, what you're looking at isn't very good, no one will notice you. Right? Like if I build like a really crappy statue, I'm like, it's art, y'all, come on, like look at it. And everyone's like, it sucks. Doesn't matter how much more I talk about it. Doesn't matter how big my goals are. Doesn't matter. None of it matters because the work that I created sucks. Right? Like in growth, you have to actually build things that are worth paying attention to. John Maxwell became our mentor for Resi Brands and a personal friend and mentor to me. Reading 21 Laws of Leadership literally unlocked my mind, helped me a ton, and was a huge part of me growing my business. So I was just this diehard John Maxwell fan. And my assistant at the time, she was like, let me see if I can get a hold of John Maxwell and get him to come out to our convention. And they said no. And so she called his chief of staff somehow and said, I don't think you understand how much Stephen loves John Maxwell. Can you please get him on a call with him? So I didn't even tell her to do that. All of this was her idea. But she was able to get me on a call with the chief of staff. I said, hey, I use your laws with our franchisees. I go through your laws at every single staff meeting. And he goes, all right, why don't you just fly out here? You'll just do it, like film a video with John Maxwell and you can play it at your convention. It's like, amazing, cool. So I flew out there, went to a studio, we filmed this 30-minute video. It's never been posted. Because what happened is him and I were talking, we're filming this video, we're doing this whole thing. And at the end of it, he goes, Stephen, I only do this for like 2 or 3 companies at a time. He goes, I want to mentor your brand. I want to mentor you and your franchisees. And Lucas was sharing the voicemail. I still have the voicemail. Right? He goes, give me your phone number, we're going to talk. So I left Florida where he lives, and he called me, and I missed the call. So I have this voicemail from him, and he basically pitched me on the idea of him mentoring us, and it ended up being this huge thing. But here's the thing. As I was talking, as I was describing what we're building, as I was talking about our goals and what we wanted to accomplish for homeowners and for franchisees, he noticed what we were doing. He admired it. He liked it. He literally said, this kid's going somewhere, you know. And then he ended up mentoring our brand. And good things that are worth noticing, that's what gets noticed. We were on a call with John Maxwell once, and I asked John, I said, John, what do you prioritize, quality or quantity? Because we want to build something big, so we have to look at quantity. He goes, prioritize quality and quantity will be demanded of you. Isn't that good? If you prioritize the quality, he's like, everybody will want what you have. Right? Like if you have a reputation of being a really good painting company in your city and everyone's talking about you, quantity will be demanded of you. Your phone will be ringing. Because if you're spending money on marketing, but you're a shitty painter, you're just telling the world how bad you are at painting. But if you do really great work, you'll turn customers into advocates, as you guys were learning earlier. So Cody Sanchez, you guys know who Cody Sanchez is? Queen of boring businesses. So she's a partner now in Resi Brands, but I didn't reach out to her. So what happened was My First Million podcast learned about Pinks and me, and they were talking about us on My First Million. Cody saw that and messaged me on LinkedIn, said, hey, I want to talk. We want to do like an email about you. So I was like, cool, awesome, amazing. I'm a huge fan. That sounds great. Her copywriter gets on a Zoom call with me. I tell him my story. He writes an email, and it goes out in their email blast. It performed really well. So get another message from Cody and their team. They say, hey, we'd love to film a video about Pinks and Resi Brands. So they came out to our offices, filmed a video about what we were doing. At the end of the day, after filming and doing all of that, she texted me and she said, hey, I want to talk partnership. I love what you guys are building. And so a few months later, she was a partner in Resi Brands, and now we're going to build, or at least try, it's definitely in concrete, the largest and greatest home service company in the world. but it was because we were building something that was worth noticing. Like I have spent very little time promoting myself. I have spent a lot of time making sure that what I was building was as good as I could make it. And sometimes I would reach my limit and go, I don't know what to do, and hire good people who could help me. Build something worth noticing and you'll get noticed. Focus on just getting noticed and you're not actually building anything great. Like even recently, like I had somebody I'm a huge fan of reached out to me on Twitter or X and wants to talk about a partnership with one of their brands in a way that we could collaborate with customers. It's just like someone I never thought would have messaged me. I can't share it yet because it's not public, but didn't reach out to him. Somebody I massively admire, saw what we were doing, reaches out, says, hey, I think we could do something with our customer base. Just focus on the craft, build something good, something worth talking about. I didn't have slides, and Lucas was like, you're just gonna raw dog it? I was like, at least I didn't have a gold bar the whole time. Actually, I told him I was way nicer than that. I said, the gold bar represents all the money you're gonna make. All right. Sixth law of the sixth unwavering law of rapid growth. I'm trying to be like John Maxwell, all right? Irrefutable laws of this is the unwavering laws of rapid growth. Your vision has to be bigger than you. This is a weird one. So I remember working with my business coach in Austin, Texas, and he was really working with me on my mindset because I was very restricted in the way I thought about growth. And at the time I was running a nonprofit. I helped a lot of churches, and he's like, dude, your website doesn't mention any of it. He's like, do you ever talk about that with your customers? Do you ever talk about any of these things that you're doing? Do you ever talk about paying it forward, how you paint a house for free every quarter for a homeowner? I was like, no. I was like, I don't want to brag about that stuff. False humility, right? He goes, if you talk about that, everybody who thinks like you and values the same things as you will want to work with you instead. So can you please just start being yourself? Do you know how many of the guys that were today talked about faith on this stage? It was almost every single one. That's becoming more and more normal because I think what people are noticing is I can just be myself, and the people who don't like me will leave, and the people who do will stick around. And I'll probably actually end up attracting more people by being myself, right? Lucas and I talked about God the first time I met him. That made me like him and want to work with him a lot more. Just to be real. So that's where we find commonalities. And people are just out there being who they are. But when you try to be everything to everyone, you end up being no one to everyone. So we started to talk more publicly. Hey, we sponsor stuff in Africa. We paint homes for free every quarter. And we saw sales go up immediately. We saw that my team members loved working at the company more, not less. So I started talking about our vision. Here's the thing. Your vision has to be about more than you. So in the sense of if you have big grand goals beyond business, you should talk about them in your business. Here's the other thing. You have to learn the why of your team because you cannot assume that they're the same as yours. So I have team members who are very money driven, and not a bad thing. They want to make more money. They should. It's a job. That's why they're there. No one shows up to the Resi Brands office if I don't pay them, right? Because it's a job. Can we be real? So if somebody's just really money focused, I'm like, cool. Let's set up a really great incentive structure for them, right? But more than that, I want to find out their why. Why do you want to make more money? What's your goal? I want to buy a house. I grew up poor, and I don't want to be poor like my parents were. It was horrible. Find their why, right? Others on your team are not money focused at all. They want stability. They want flexibility. As long as I make this salary, I don't care about bonuses. I don't care about commission. I don't care about any of that. I just want to go home every day at this time. Can you respect that? That's my why. I have to pick up my kids to get them to soccer practice. That's my why. So if I go to one of my team members who I know she wants to leave at 4:50 because she has a specific thing she has to take 3 of her kids to every week, 3 times a week. And I come in at 4:40. Hey, why aren't sales up? Well, you get what I'm saying? Hey, can I incentivize you with a bonus if you'll stay late? Is that going to work? No, she's going to leave. But if I go to but if I don't incentivize my money-making, focused employees with good structures, they're also going to leave. So you have to learn the why, and you cannot assume it's the same as your own. And so what you do as a leader, and this is true for anything that you're leading, is that you need to create an environment in which their dream and your dream can coexist. And if you can create an environment, a culture, a goal where their dream and your dream work alongside each other, you're going to go really, really far. But if you assume everybody's super stoked about your goal and they're motivated by the same things that you are and they want the exact same things you do, you won't be able to lead very many people. And so you have to try to understand each team member, and then you have to help them build what they want to build alongside you. And that's how you bring more and more people with you, because you cannot do anything great alone. You got to believe it. You got to talk about it. Here's the thing, you got to talk about it in a way that's contagious. People are actually excited to come along, and then you have to actually go and execute and deliver what you promised. So, I'm going to wrap up. I know we're right at time. I promise you that there will be one singular reason at the end why you should dream bigger and build better. If you do a really, really great job for your customer, what's going to happen? Like the house is beautiful. You didn't leave any drips of paint. There's no razor blades in the driveway. No cigarette butts for the 5-year-old to come pick up and start pretending to smoke. Now he's addicted to cigarettes. Right? So there's no cigarettes. There was no razor blades left in the driveway. There's no paint drips left on the floor. Crisp, clean lines. The cabinets are so smooth. Use the best products. Your team was polite and respectful and showed up on time and communicated well. What's that customer going to do? Refer, right? So we should do really, really, really good work and offer incredible customer service so that the customer will be happy and we will get referrals and we will make more money, all right? Okay, so that's a huge reason right there. That's a good enough reason all on its own. All on its own. That's a good enough reason to do a better job than you are today. It's a good enough reason to get your team excited about doing great work today. But I think there's more. I think we should do it because it's the right thing to do. Like, they didn't hire a professional to get work. They didn't hire a professional to have to clean up a mess after you. They didn't hire a professional to have to fire you and hire a different painting company to finish your job, right? They hired a professional because you should be a professional. They hired somebody who is supposed to be really good at the work that they're paying for. And so you should do it not just because you could get a ton of referrals and grow your business. You should do it just because it's the right thing to do. Anybody with me? But there's more. There's more. And here's the singular reason that you should do more, why you should dream bigger for yourself, get rid of limiting beliefs, set massive goals, write them in concrete, place them up like a monument for everybody to see if you made it or not, and do it without any shame. You know why? Because you were created to. Whether you are a believer, you have faith or not, take this as ancient, really great wisdom. The Bible says that God created man and he put him in the garden and put him to work. That was before sin or difficulty entered the world. So we were created to work. That is not a punishment. Work is part of who we are. You should dream bigger and build better because something in you knows you're supposed to. Talked about that drive at the beginning. Every single one of you have drive. I don't care what the personality tests say. I don't care what your mom or dad said. I don't care what some loser in high school said about you. I don't care what you say about yourself every single day in your mind. I don't care how much you've beaten yourself up. You have that drive. You have the drive to build something and to dream for more. And it was put there, I believe, by God because you're a human and you're created in his image. And if you build, if you embrace that, right? You don't even have to embrace it at first. You just have to entertain it. Just dream for a little bit. Entertain what more could look like for you. What does more look like for you? What does that mean for your family? The Bible says that like a righteous man leaves inheritance for his third generation, I think, right? Blanking on the exact verse, but thank you. Build more, dream. So first, just entertain it as an idea. What would it look like for me to accomplish more, for me to build, for me to lead, for me to do more? What does that look like for my friends, my family members? Who could I help? How far could I take it? Then you embrace it. You really start to take hold of it. You start to make some business plans, which are easier than ever with ChatGPT, right? Can we be honest? How many business plans do you create like a week with ChatGPT? Like 7? Yeah. I walk into a restaurant. I'm like, oh, those tacos are really good. I wonder what it would take for me to start a taco shop. Like, let's talk to ChatGPT while I'm eating. Anybody else? No? Okay. Right? It's easier than ever. You have more resources than ever. So you've entertained it. Now you've embraced it, and you really start to develop that. And then what you have to do is once you really have that, you believe it. Now you got to talk about it. You got to talk about it in a way that's contagious and other people want to help you. And then you have to actually execute well and do it really well. Not just because doing it well will result in you getting more sales and more referrals. Not just because doing things good is good, right? Work deserves to be good. People deserve to be treated well, and they deserve to get professional work from professionals. That's true, but you should do it because that's what you know you were meant to do, that you were created to do. All right, thank you all.